So there are a number of ways you can enhance your basic bass part once you've got it in. Down at the effects presets down in the lower left-hand corner, you will find that you can get a combination of effects already done for you. So, for example, Stutter Tremolo. I'm going to click on this. Now, it has a tremolo, a BL driver, that's a blues driver, and a digital compressor, all put together at the same time, and they've picked some settings for you. So that's going to sound like this, as opposed to no effects. You could pick something else too. You could pick maybe hard overdrive. So this is going to give you a blues driver and a compressor. So it's got a lot of edge to it. So what are all of these things? Well, these are effects. They're additional layers that you can add onto your sound. So the combinations are really, really cool, but you can also just add a single one. So let's steer away from the presets for now and go one at a time so we can learn how they work. So I'm going to go into just adding an effect. Just hit the plus, and I'm going to go with a modulating effect. So let's go in and add one effect at a time. I'm going to go into this tone bank here and choose a filter. This is one of the most basic effects, and you'll see it a lot. Basically, the way a filter works is that it takes all of the frequencies that make up a sound. For example, this bass instrument is made up of a lot of low frequencies, but there's some high frequencies into it too. There's high end, there's mid-range, and there's low end that make up a sound. So when we play this sound, you're going to hear that I can pull out some of the high frequencies. Now, the sound sounds really round now. There's not a lot of bite to it, and there's not a lot of top end to it or clarity. It sounds kind of muddy and buried. So this frequency, you can see that when I hover the mouse, it's telling me what frequency is being filtered. That is 145 hertz, and that's very, very low. As we discussed in class, the whole range of human hearing is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So 145 is very low. So I'm going to change the Q, and then I'm going to raise the frequency up a little bit. So you can see that I can play with that quite a bit. Let's play with that a little bit more. So let's back that down. And now I've got a filter that I can automate on top of this effect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the effect added, and I'm going to go over to this automation thing. So I'm going to click on the automation bar, and I'm going to get this little line that goes across the duration of my clip. Now, the default is volume, which means that I can now change the volume of this clip. I don't want to do that right now. I want to play with the multi-filter frequency. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to start to put in these little nodes. I can put in dots wherever I want, these little pivot points. So let's start here, and I'm just going to drop it down. We're going to drop it down really low, down to like 115 hertz, and then back up. We're going to slowly get ourselves back up, and we're going to slowly get ourselves back down, another node or two, and then I'm going to make sure that I get back to where I started from. So where did I start? I started at about 1989. Let's get back to something similar. Let's get it close. There we go. That's good enough. So now let's listen to what happens with this automation. You can even watch this little frequency knob moving around. That's pretty cool. So you can automate any parameter in a track. That's what automation does. Now start to play with a couple of different effects. Notice that you can just add another one right here. So maybe you want to add a little delay, and then when you go to your automation, you'll see that you have a number of things that you can automate. The effect level, the feedback, or the time, and you can play with a lot of that stuff. We've discussed a lot of what these things do in class, but I want you to really experiment with them here and explore automation and different effects that you can add to your bass. Have fun with this.